Hello there, I just want to do a short video to show you the new instrument that's been added to fDeck in September 2023, which is the Flight Planet instrument, which you can see here middle at the bottom. But I just expanded out so we can focus on the instrument a little bit at a time. So we've got the same bezel that we use on the chronograph, but we've obviously adapted it for a Flight Planet instrument. We've got 4 basic buttons along the bottom. We've got previous, next, add waypoint and remove waypoint. I have a number of waypoints that I've added in here to demonstrate it in a very short flight here using X-Plane. So I'm going to go ahead and add these waypoints in as waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3, and waypoint 4. So there's 4 waypoints. You can click and drag the waypoints up and down. So the white box here shown in the middle is the active waypoint, the current active waypoint. Waypoint 1 is the previous waypoint, waypoint 3 will be the next waypoint. You can click and hold on these waypoints and reorder them. So if you wanted to adjust the order in which you fly these waypoints, you can click and hold and just drag them around. I'm going to move these back into their correct order though, because I'd like to just transition through them in the right order. You can have up to 32 waypoints. If we find people would like more than that, I can configure that, but 32 is probably a good number to start with. You can cycle through backwards and forwards through the waypoints using the previous and next buttons. You can remove waypoints using the takeaway button, and then again add them back in again using the plus button. That's pretty much it. There is a number of settings for the instrument. There's loop route, which basically means when you get to the last waypoint in a route, it will wrap round. So if I go next, 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 now hit next again, it's looped back round to waypoint 1. If I turn loop route off, if I go next, 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 hit, oops, double click. If I hit now, it will stay at waypoint 4. So it will get to the last waypoint on the route and that will remain there. What does not cycle back to waypoint 1. So I'm going to turn that back on though, because I'd like to show that in a demo. I've got X-Plane running on the left-hand side here. So I'm going to do a very, very short flight to demonstrate the auto waypoint transition, which is the next feature. So auto waypoint transition basically means is that when you get to a waypoint, it will automatically transition to the next waypoint, assuming you go through a radius of whatever you set in this setting here. So this setting can be set to 10, 100, 500, 1000 or 2500 meters. I've got it set to 500 here. So when I fly within 500 meters radius of the waypoint, it will automatically transition to the next waypoint. It doesn't have to do that. You can manually do it yourself using the previous and next buttons. If you want to go back to a waypoint that you've previously flown past, you can hit the previous button, for example, and then it will cycle through again once you get within 500 meters, in my case, of the next waypoint. Reverse route does exactly what it says on the tin. So if I reverse route, it should now be 4, 3, 2, 1. And if I reverse route again, it will go back to 1, 2, 3, 4. Clear waypoints does exactly what it says on the tin. So what I've got now is waypoints 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got active waypoint 1. If we look at the map here, you can actually see the route. So waypoint 1 is Island Harbour, we've got waypoint 2 is Osborne House, waypoint 3 is East Cowes, and waypoint 4 as Cowes. So that's the very, very short route we're going to follow. So that's the basic Flight Planet instrument, but where the power of this instrument really comes into its own is when you use it in combination with other instruments. So if I come back out of the instrument, you can see here I've got HSI top left, ADF top right, and a VOR bottom left. The ADF and the VOR are slightly different in the fact that if you look at the bottom right, you can see this kind of squiggly line thing. What that actually tells you is that both those instruments are slave to the flight planner. So if I now hit next on the flight planner, you can see both the ADF and the VOR automatically tune to waypoint 2. I've added a new bit of functionality to the HSI and VOR, which is called auto obs, which basically means whenever you tune either of these instruments now, whether you're in flight planner mode or not, so if I tune up to Southampton Airport, for example, it will automatically set the 2 OBS to Southampton Airport in this case. So that's pretty much on our 6 o'clock as we're heading south through Cowes at the moment. I'm going to untune that. I'm also going to set the HSI up to slave to planner. And you can see the auto obs option is there on an HSI, and it's also on the VOR, so auto obs, which is quite nice. And you see the VOR, and both the ADF are slaved to the flight planner. You can see now that you can't actually manually tune these instruments because they are all being driven from the flight planner. So you can tune as many of these as you want. So you can have as many VORs, as many HSIs as you've got space on your instrument panel. So if we go to waypoint 1, now let's fly this route. So I'm going to unpause X-Plane in the background and hopefully quickly demonstrate. There we go. So we're slightly right of track on this one. So we're just going to level out here. So there we go. So we're going to come back onto the nice radio. There we go. That's the radio that we want. And we're going to fly this so you can see the ADF and the VOR and the HSI are all tuned to the same station. So what we're basically looking for here is when we get within a certain range, 500 meters of this waypoint, we will see the automatic transition to waypoint 2, which is Osborne House. We'll do a left-hand turn onto Osborne House, fly there, and then fly back to East Cowes and then Cowes, showing the automatic transition as we do it. So we're 1.6 nautical miles, 1 minute to run. We're just adjusting ourselves. The needle's quite lively at the moment because we're very close to the station. But I'll keep adjusting because I want to get within that 500 meters for the right transition. That should probably be enough there. I'm going to leave it there. So we're less than 1 minute to the station. We're looking for the transition. It should be any second now. Zero 0.7 nautical miles, 30 seconds to run. There's the transition to waypoint 2. You can see all of the instruments have now automatically retuned themselves to waypoint 2. So we're going to fly up here to Osborne House. Once we get stable on heading here, I'll just flip to the map on fDeck. So if we just have a look at the map on fDeck, see how our track is showing. There we go. You can see that transition there. We're just about to fly through our radial, so I'll just bring it right a little bit. There we go. Oh, a bit late on that one. Let's have a look at the map again. That's nice. Okay, up to Osborne House. We're just gone a little bit to the left of it. Again, all these distances are very small, so the needles are quite lively. Transition any moment now. 0.4 nautical miles to run. 18 seconds. Looking for transition to waypoint 3. Waypoint 3 transition, there we go. Auto obs happens. We're pretty much on the radio. We're going to swing ourselves round here. We're going to overshoot the radial now. Whee, nice. A bit too much on the turn there. 0.7 nautical miles to run. Needle's coming back nicely. 0.6 nautical miles to run. There's the transition, and we're going to move over to waypoint 4, which is back in Cowes. So this kind of functionality would be very, very useful for you air racers out there. Obviously, you can plug in your route for your race. There you go. We've wrapped back round to waypoint 1 now. So if we come back round to the left-hand side, we can go fly back to waypoint 1. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you find anything that's not working correctly, please let me know. If you find any enhancements that you'd like to add to it, please let me know. Just pop me an email. Other than that, thanks for watching, and speak soon.